Hello. It's Dr. Kadri Opafemi Hamzat. I think there's something wrong with off and on. Check. Can we do a mic check? Okay. Can we have another mic? I think this just keeps going off and on. Thank you. I was saying that Mr. Deputy deserves a round of applause. He was a part of a team several years ago when we started all of this, and I will come back to that shortly. Of the Lagos State House of Assembly, now our brother and our friend who continues to superintend over the most vibrant house in the country, the Right Honorable Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa. Thank you very much for your leadership, and through you to acknowledge your principal officers that are here and other members of this house that are here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you for your partnership at all times with the executive. The Chinese Consul General, who has the consulate in Lagos, Mr. Chu Maomi, thank you very much. You've been here on this program and on this event on several occasions with us, and I will talk about it shortly. Members of the State Executive Council that have turned up here in large number, thank you very much. You are indeed the people that have also made it happen. There have been several push from you, but I want to also acknowledge your colleagues, the Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Fred, and the Special Advisor on Transportation, for their own personal doggedness. The body of permanent secretary that are here, especially the very hard-working permanent secretary in the Ministry of Transportation, Engineer Toriola, thank you very much for the work you are doing, and all of your directors and your ministry. Of course, the agency that has been saddled with this big responsibility, LAMATA, the Lagos Area Transport Authority, today led and headed by a woman that is indeed has earned her pay, a woman that has earned her due, a woman that has shown to us that several things the men can do, the women can do it better. Engineer Mrs. Abimbola Akianjo, through you to also acknowledge all of your management staff, your engineers, your staff from Lamata that have continued to work tirelessly until the end of this project. Let me seize this opportunity to also acknowledge and thank the people that started all of this with us. And they know that I'm with them, I was with them from the very, very, very first beginning. In fact, when the first MD was recruited, I was with him, and subsequent ones. Please give it a big round of applause for Dr. Ayomi Beriola, the first MD of Lamata, Dabiri, the next MD of Lamata, and of course, the director who also led the rail project, Engineer Gbenga Dairo. Thank you all very, very much for being part of history here today and for all your great work that you have put on today. Knowledge and thank and through you to thank and to acknowledge all of your staff of CCCC. John 2, they know themselves. The John 1 is the one here. John 2 is on Lagos Badagry. Thank you very much for your leadership. And I want to say that indeed we can see the fruit of all of the quarrels that we had here today. The chairman of our party, thank you very much for your leadership. Thank you for holding the party structure in one piece, because all of us are a beneficiary of a thriving, moving, purposeful party. Pastor Colinius Ojelabi, thank you very, very, very much for your support at all times. Captains of industry that are here, CEOs of banks, CEOs of our consultants, I will acknowledge each and every one of you in due course. Our citizens that have also trooped out here, for this very simple but very memorable occasion. I want to thank you all very much for coming. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. You can see that I'm beaming from one part of my cheek to the other, because indeed it's a day of celebration. I see Engineer Lawansin, who was the former Commissioner for Transportation, also in the audience. Thank you very much for coming. So for us to put this event that we're here, to put it in proper perspective, I think it's important for us to go down memory lane. It was in the year 1902, that is 120 years ago, when the very first tramway system was launched here in the city of Lagos. The tram connected the mainland, which is Ebute Metta, to Lagos Island. That tram quickly became an important part of the social, commercial, and economic life of Lagos in the early 20th century. Now, 120 years later, we are making a remarkable history on the final infrastructure completion of yet another historic rail line, the phase 1 of the Blue Line Lagos Mass Transit Corridor. Let me make it clear that today is not the official commissioning. It is the inauguration of the infrastructure completion. You remember that we've had an event where the final construction on the sea crossing, we celebrated it right about a year and a half, about 2 years ago, when we completed the sea crossing at the end of Marina. You will also remember that we also did a celebration for the final T-beam, in which the global chairman of CCCC came to the country to inspect and to see when we handed and when we launched the last T-beam, which was about 6-7 months ago. It was at that event that we made a call and we made a commitment that we will finish infrastructure-wise the completion of the Blue Line before the end of 2022. By my last check, today is the 21st day of December in the year 2022. This is a government that has kept its promise, that has kept its word, that have given a commitment, because we're people of integrity. We're people that understand and appreciate that once you give a commitment, nothing must stop you. And I'm indeed happy that today, before the end of the year 2022, we're all here to witness the formal inauguration of the infrastructural completion of the Blue Line. The real commissioning, I will talk about it because we're waiting for a big elephant to come in and do the commissioning for us. Until then, we have important phase of test running to do to ensure that everything is in place, is in order for us to kick off a full commercial operation of the tracks, of the trains. This milestone in the development of Lagos Rail Mass Transit is a culmination of several impactful reforms in the transport ecosystem of Lagos since the beginning of this Fourth Republic in the year 1999. Our leader, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he was sworn in 1999, he inherited a Lagos metropolis that was struggling on all facets, with all challenges. And before the end of his first tenure, was battered. And Dr. Dayo Mibiriola, like I did said, was the first chief executive of Lamata. I was opportune, humbly so, to be even on the path of the first inauguration of Lamata at that time. We used to use Lamata as a test board to go on a lot of World Bank study tour to understand, to appreciate of what public transportation is all about. And Dr. Mibiriola used to make yanga because he came from TFL in London then to say to us that this is what, and I said to him that don't worry, Lagos someday will be like this. Lagos that day is here and is here to witness it, and we're all here to see it. And so at that time, it was launched, the Greater Lagos, a strategic transport master plan for Lagos, which laid the foundation of several things that we're beginning to see, not only in the rail, but also in the bus rapid transit system, in also the waterways infrastructure. I want to acknowledge and thank the visionary leader of our leader at that time. And like I said, we were part of his cabinet, and we're watching, and we're seeing, we're studying. And today, we can see that that seed has grown to become the biggest transport infrastructure around Africa. Thank you all very much for being part of the birth of Lamata. And so over the last 2 decades, that master plan, as fully implemented by successful government, has grown from strength to strength. I am grateful to Almighty and to you all good people of Lagos for the opportunity you have given us to be at the helm of our affair today. The completion of the infrastructure for the first phase of the Blue Line is a strong testimony of our commitment to building on the legacies of our heroes past. I want to also say that the first phase is a 13-kilometer stretch from Mile 2 to Marina. And the day we're going to do the official commissioning of the rail track is also the day we're going to launch the official groundbreaking for the phase 2, which will be from Mile 2 all the way to Okokomaiko. So we're not stopping at all. Ain't stopping it until when we complete the entire 27-kilometer corridor. So that will also happen pari passu on that day for our contractor to start the phase 2 without any idle time. And it's important for us to say that this rail corridor will be powered by electricity to be supplied by a standalone IPP. And the IPP plant is just right behind us and is also nearing completion. The Blue Line, no doubt, has had an interesting story with many delays along the journey line, which I must say were not due to lack of enthusiasm or commitment from the part of the Lagos State. We will not dwell on the challenges. We have put them behind us, and we have formed a new focus on the benefit of this project to our people. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Governor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our vision for an integrated transport system is enunciated in the traffic management and transportation pillar, which is the first pillar of our economic agenda. You remember just last week at the Falomo Jetty, where we handed over a first-in-class security architecture for the waterways infrastructure, where we also handed over security gadgets for the waterways infrastructure. We did mention at that event that by next week we'll be coming to officially complete the infrastructure on the Blue Line. We're here given that promise, and at that meeting we also said that what we're about is ensuring that the entire ecosystem of our integrated mass transportation system is completed. You have seen all of our intervention on the road, the bus rapid transit system. Several thousands of buses have been procured, from the high capacity buses to medium capacity buses to last mile buses, even to taxis, just to be able to reduce journey time and to give our citizens a journey experience that is next to none. On the waterways as well, we have also injected a lot of infrastructure. We have completed 9 out of the 17 jetties that we're building, and they are ready to be handed over to our citizens. We have procured 22 high-capacity ferry boats to move our citizens from one part of the city to another. Journeys that usually take 2 hours on the waterways now takes less than 40 minutes. Indeed, from Falomo to Ikorodu, you can do it on the waterways at less than 35 minutes. That is what we're talking about. The final phase of that integrated urban mass transportation system is the rail. I'm happy all witnessing to the official infrastructure completion of the first in series of the 6 rail infrastructure for the rail that we have. And we have said it, that the red line, before the end of our administration in May, indeed we have actually stretched ourselves, but before the end of first quarter next year, the red line infrastructure, which in my view is even bigger than the blue line, will be completed by the grace of God Almighty. We believe that ours is an integrated that connects road infrastructure, rail infrastructure, and waterways infrastructure, which will make journey time seamless for our citizens. Coincidentally, this location is central to our integrated internodal system. You will see when we move from here and we go to Marina, that is also very central, because at Marina, you will see that we're connecting with water, we're connecting with rail, and we're connecting also with the road infrastructure. That is the master plan, and that is the integration that I want to put together, in all of this. And I think it's also important for me to thank Messrs. French Development Agency, who are also working with us and ensuring that that connectivity happens very, very, very quickly. I'm also happy to inform us that all the 3 trains that will require for the blue line are in the country, are with us. The very first one are the ones we're going to ride on this afternoon. The 2 others are also in the country, and I'm excited that CCCC were able to keep to their words to ensure that the trains get into the country before the official commissioning today. Let me close by saying a word of appreciation to everyone that has been involved in the Lagos Mass Transit Blue Line project, from immense professionalism that has been put forward in this project. It's important for me to acknowledge the visionary role of our leader, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was the designer of the modern Lagos. He is today on the ballot of APC as a presidential candidate. And we're excited, we're happy that the success that we have received, that we have seen in Lagos can indeed be transformed and be transmitted into our nation globally. And so for us, we're routing, we're believing that is the man that is best fit for the job, and God will see him through. It's super important for me to acknowledge and thank my big brother, the Honorable Minister for Works and Infrastructure, for Works and Housing, His Excellency Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, CON, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who during his tenure as the governor laid the foundation for the Blue Line in the year 2010. I was also privileged to be in his own cabinet at that time. And the vision and the audacity at that time was that for us as a government, let us do what appears to be impossible. Let us build an intra-city rail infrastructure for our children, for our children's children to see. If all we said at that time was that the first tram was built in the year 1902, what is wrong with us? Why can we not dream the dream? Why can we not envision it? And that was why we took that bold step to have taken the right of way on the Lagos-Badagry Express Road, where we're moved from a 4-lane highway to a 10-lane highway, even being a federal government road. And you can see that that infrastructure is going on, and is going on very well. I'm happy to also say that we'll be completing our own portion of Lagos-Badagry Express Road within the first quarter of next year, which takes us to Okokomaiko. The federal government has committed to take it on and continue that road construction up until Badagry. And in the middle of that alignment is where we have the phase 2 of the blue line, which will go from mile 2 all the way to Okokomaiko. And my commitment is that the phase 2 of it, it's at grid level. It's going to be done quicker, faster, and smarter. And we do not have the high level of bridge crossing that we had that slowed us down on this one. So the phase 2, we believe we should be able to do it in a more smarter and quicker form. CCCC, do I get a commitment on that from you? Yes, the man says yes. And so we will deliver the entire corridor for our citizens. I also want to thank and put on record the support from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The leadership of this bank use their differentiated cash reserve requirement to innovatively work with some financial institutions, and we're able to all put our creative minds together. And so it's important for me to thank on the blue line Messrs. Access Bank, Sterling Bank, and Fidelity Bank, who had worked with us to have the creative financing option for us to bring this project to completion. I think they deserve a round of applause. It's also important for me to thank our consultants, Messrs. KPMG, who the managing partner is here. Thank you very much. And CPCS, who continues to be our handheld consultants throughout this entire project. We're indeed happy. We're grateful to all of your time, to all of your efforts, to your criticism on this project. And we all can see that has come to fruition here. I want to thank the management and staff of Lamata, which today is led by indefatigable engineer Mrs. Abimbola Akiajo. I think she needs to be upstanding so that we can actually clap for her very, very well. Abimbola, thank you very much. I was still on the phone with her 1 a.m. today, this morning, and I was asking all the difficult questions. I know how pushed I have pushed you, but indeed you have shown that you can do it and you are capable of doing it. Thank you very much. With you, your entire staff, for relying, and believing that Lagos deserves this at this time. Please take a bow and sit down. I think it's important that we also thank Dr. Dayo Mebiriola, to thank Engineer Biodun Dabiri, to thank Engineer Benga Dairo. They were people that I knocked at one point or the other. I know all of the push I used to embarrass Benga Dairo, that you are not anything. You don't deserve anything that you tell me you are from TFL. Forget all of that thing. But I'm happy that all of you can see, that the only reward for good work, for more work, is good work, which you have all displayed today. And our Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Fred, who coincidentally too was a director in Lamata when it all started. Today he sits as a Commissioner for Transportation. Fred, thank you very much. I know how many times I bossed you as well, and see that all of that is coming to play here. Let me use this opportunity to thank our House of Assembly, because in all of our journey, if we do not have a forward-looking House, which is led by the Speaker, it becomes difficult for them to even understand what we're trying to do as executive. And you can see that it can bring about, each one of us speaking from different sides. But we understand that in separation of power, everybody has a role to play. And we respect each other. But we know that with the cooperation of the Lagos State House of Assembly, we continue to receive that tremendous support from you, Mr. Speaker, and all the 39 others. I want to publicly thank you, encourage you to continue to do your very best for your constituents and for our citizens, because with the partnership, Lagosians will continue to receive and be the ultimate beneficiary. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and the Lagos State House of Assembly. To the Lagos State Cabinet, we cannot begin to thank ourselves. This is the job that we have signed on to. This is the calling that we've given Lagosians, that we will roll off our sleeves, we'll get our hands dirty, we'll do everything to ensure that the very best of our time is given to Lagos State. So, Mr. Deputy Governor, who leads in that old cabinet, I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank the entire cabinet for the leadership. Whilst I ask us to thank Mr. Deputy at that time, because history is repeating itself. His late father used to be a commissioner for transportation, and at some point in time, they also conceived a rail project, which during the time of Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, but that never saw the light. But Dr. Hamzat is here as a living legend. During his own administration, rail project is being commissioned, and we can begin to see the effects of it in our state. Really, finally, is to thank Mr. Sisi. They were dogged, they were committed, they were tenacious, and I want to publicly thank John, who sleeps 24/7. The last 1.5 months, they've worked 24/7 to ensure that we get to this completion today. John, thank you very much. I know his face mark is somewhere. And the second John, there are two Johns in them. I want to thank the two Johns. Thank you very, very much. And also the chairman of CCCC. My final thank is to the good people of Lagos. You are the one that continues to give us the urge, the commitment to wake up every morning and do the right thing and do the proper thing for you. This is for you. It's about you. It's about your family. It's about your children. It's about your sustenance, your livelihood. It's about ensuring that what we promise as a government to make life a lot better for you, this is what it is. For you to be able to commune from one part of the city to another part of the city seamlessly in a safe and secure environment. Those are the commitments we give you. That is what we want to assure you, that for every day we wake up, we will continue to understand and appreciate that the oath that we took is to serve you with everything we have. We want to thank you that even in the face of difficulty, you stood with us. You continue to encourage us. You continue to say that you believe in this government. In all the phases of inconveniences throughout the rail project, you have encouraged us, you have stand with us, you have believed in us. This is for you. This project is for you. Please ensure that you safeguard it. You should also bear in mind that this rail system is powered by electricity, and it must therefore not be trespassed on in any way. The rail crossing is a no-no for everyone. The tracks are not an option for anyone to cross. On the issue of vandalism, you will know that you'll be at great risk if something that is powered by electricity, you want to attempt to touch anything there. And we have provided enough pedestrian bridges to ensure that you can move from one station to the other. And please, gentlemen of the press, let us use this as another opportunity to say to our citizens that this is an electric run rail track. Nobody can walk on those tracks because they will be powered with electricity 24/7. On a final note, because Mr. Speaker talked about Christmas present. Yes, it is. This is your Christmas present. But it's a bigger New Year present than I want to give to you. We gave a commitment too that we are going to announce the preferred bidder and the winner for the 4th mainland bridge. I still want to keep to that promise that before the end of this year, we will be announcing the final contractor bidder for the 4th mainland bridge, which is a 37-kilometer crossing on water and on waterways for the good people of Lagos. This will be another promise kept for our citizens. Therefore, to the glory of God, it is now my pleasure to formally announce the completion of the infrastructure of the Lagos Rail, the Blue Line. We will now commence the test running of the line in preparation for the formal commissioning for passenger traffic and operation. The formal commissioning will be done by Mr. President himself in the month of January. He has given us the assurance that he will come around to formally commission the rail for us at the iconic Marina Station. This is not the iconic, it is the iconic Marina Station that Mr. President will officially be commissioning the Blue Line, and he will ride from Marina all the way to Mile 2 on that fateful day, and he will also do the groundbreaking for the phase 2, which will be from Mile 2 all the way to Okokomaiko on that fateful day. So it's still another day for Lagosians to look forward to. Thank you all very much for listening. It's been an honor and a great privilege to be your governor at this time of our history. Thank you very much. Hey! Sanwoolu, Sanwoolu, Sanwoolu. We praise our leaders, rise and train. Wake up! Wake up! Leaders, they move forward. We know the place. Sanwoolu, Security.